Welcome back to the GTR podcast, episode 5. Today with me, I have a special guest. My boy Alex is here with me.
What's up?
Go ahead. He's a Boston Celtics fan at that, so we're gonna let that slide. But go ahead, introduce yourself.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't think I'm that insufferable, so it's okay. Honorary member of Pistons Twitter. So yeah, my Twitter is that one fan _13. In case y'all want to follow me.
Yeah, go give him a follow. He cool. Kind of cool. He Boston fan, but we'll rock. We'll rock.
Oh man.
Me and him had some good talks and some wild takes.
I completely forgot to ask about swearing.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
Because that telling me not to swear severely limits my vocabulary.
So. You're good. Half of my vocabulary is swearing it, so we good.
Dude, my work is like they tell us like to try not to swear. Fuck that,
man. But let's get into it. Today's topics we're gonna talk about James Harden's extension, Donovan Mitchell's and Danny Ainge and how he wants 7 first-round picks for him, and then a would you rather and anything else that comes up.
A bunch of players. I got a list.
And a would you rather. But let's go straight into it. Starting off, I do want to start with Donovan Mitchell because that's the most recent that happened.
Yeah. Holy fuck! Like
7 first-round picks.
7 to 8. No, I'm so I think that's John. I think that's absolutely a product of being able to get, let's be real, 5 first-round picks out of Rudy Gobert. So I don't think he gets traded for several months because I think that trade has kind of screwed up the trade market I think it's going to screw up the trade market for a couple months because fuck it. He's not Donovan Mitchell. I think he's good, but 7 to 8 picks. Oh, no way.
That's mortgaging your future. Like that's your future.
That's more than mortgaging your future. That's fucking saying screw all of this. I just want a cool guy who will sell jerseys. And the only team that the only team that can actually pay that much is OKC, and I actually kind of like what they have going on over there. Like now, I think long term, Giddey and Shea will be interesting. I want to see Giddey be better off ball.
Okay.
So he'll have a long term future, but I like what they're doing, so I don't know if they'll want to go for Donovan Mitchell.
I like that you blog Oklahoma City because of the abundance of picks they have. New York is still in the trade talks because they can trade every pick they have. That's Detroit's pick, Oklahoma, Charlotte's, like all the picks they have, they can trade. But 8 for a person who's like, he's not that, like, he's good. Don't get me wrong, all-star, almost all NBA talent type player, like first team, almost not there yet.
I think he'll peak at around second team. He's gotten second team. I should know this. I believe he's gotten second team one time.
I don't think he got a second team, but that's outrageous actually for 8 first round picks. And like you said, Danny Ainge really screwed up the trade market and stopped free agency because of the picks he wants and like Rudy Gobert's value. Like you do have to, if you're Minnesota, you do have to like go after it because other teams wanted Rudy Gobert. But the way Danny Ainge got the picks and the players back is like ridiculous. It's like
he screwed the market, but also it's like he didn't. It's not like he completely screwed it up himself because you will take 5 first round picks even if it means you're not going to get the 7 to 8 for Donovan Mitchell. Come on,
right?
That was never going to happen in the first place. So take the 5 picks and fucking run.
You got to run with it. 5 picks, and some of them is unprotected too. And then you got half of their bench. So, like, you got to run with that. You got to run with that. I wish, and I'm going to say this about Donovan. I wish Donovan, like, I know he didn't ask for a trade out, but it was signaling that he wanted to get traded. I wish they did it last season or the season before. Just because his market would have been higher.
His market would have been higher last year.
Yeah.
After they had such a good regular season. Because I feel like going into this season, a lot of people are like, yeah, same old story. They're gonna be good in the regular season, and then they're just gonna get completely exploited in the playoffs. Which, surprise, surprise, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they got explode. They got exposed in the playoffs, and it's not Donovan Mitchell's fault, and it's not Rudy Gobert's fault. It's just their team is
It's
poorly constructed.
the core around them was the meaning of a regular season team.
Yeah.
Because was it their defense? Known fact was Rudy Gobert, do your thing. And playoffs, a lot of playoffs is mismatch hunting, and that's exactly what happened.
I like to say this because I'm not a Donovan hater, but I'm not so also not a fan. But Utah was fundamentally broken defensively, like fundamentally broken. Without Rudy
Mhm.
Gobert, they can't switch. They don't have true defenders, and the people who are
No,
defenders are undersized. So at
yeah,
that point, you're like, what?
like technical defense. Donovan Mitchell is there, but he's 6'1"
Yeah,
at the two guard, so it he's going to struggle.
right. You can only
He's
do
not,
so much.
yeah, and I think him and really Royce O'Neal, who they traded for a pick, Royce O'Neal was really their only plus perimeter defender. So
Yeah,
you got to rebuild.
it's
I'm
difficult.
glad they're blowing it up, though. I'm really glad they're blowing it up.
I wish, like, I'm glad they're blowing it up, but I wish Donovan was traded first, and then this wouldn't be such a problem of the market like it's shifting and like everybody's waiting for obviously Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and Donovan. If Donovan was traded first, teams would be more likely to trade because Donovan for 5 first-round picks before Rudy Gobert is not that crazy. It's still crazy because Rudy is not worth 5 first-round picks, but at least you get a person who regular season he's really good and all, and then when it comes into playoffs, like he turns into a low-level superstar when it comes to scoring and like
Yeah,
coming up to the moments.
yeah, absolutely. Um, honestly, yeah. I mean, the Gobert trade really just triggered everything. So I do agree. I think it would have been better for everyone else if Donovan Mitchell got traded first. But
Yeah.
the market is now going to be a mess for a few months, in my opinion.
It is. I don't see any movement until probably like December 20th, where like
Is
signings, yep, December 20th or trade deadline, because that's where players can who are signed can get traded and stuff like that. Um
yeah.
and last thing about Donovan Mitchell, real quick about the trade. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that Donovan is not a bad player because we see him as a good player, all-star type level player. It's about the worth that Danny Ainge wants. It's what he's trying to do in Boston. So the problem, and I understand where Danny Ainge is coming from. He's trying to tear down and rebuild like he did in Boston. The problem is people know that he's trying to do that. They're not going to let him get away with it this time.
Yeah, he's not. Lightning doesn't strike twice, so there's no way he's going to be able to do that. And even then, that the KG trade, that was 3 picks
Yeah.
and a pick swap, or 2 picks and 3 picks and a pick swap. So that's not 7 to 8 picks. That's not 5 picks. So
And Donovan is no KG, even though KG was washed at that time. Like we know what prime KG is getting traded for. Donovan is nowhere near prime KG. So
no.
right.
And also the last thing I do want to say is that they do also. I feel like they'll fall into a place where they they will have to trade Mitchell because with him on your team, you're not gonna be able to do a full tank because that's just not how it works. And no one's gonna give away. My guess, the most picks we'll get is like 5, and 2 of which being protected. So it, with Donovan Mitchell, you're not able to tank.
Um, with Donovan Mitchell, like you said, like the picks, you're not going to get that much. I see him getting 3 at best. Not even then, that's like a kind of an overpay, depending on what you get and what team is going into it.
It depends who's salary filler.
Right. One thing about Donovan is we I like Donovan again, and I'm gonna keep saying it because people will think I don't like Donovan.
Yeah,
Donovan is not a number one option, and he's not a true number two. I feel like he's a number three, but the team that he gotta go to, he has to be that number one. And him at a number one is second best, like second round playoff exit, maybe. So I don't know.
it's exactly what we saw in Utah. I like him as a number two option, but a good one. Like Zach Levine type, like that. Him and DeMar were between number one and two last season. I like that, and really the Bulls' problems were injuries. And we might end up talking about this briefly because I have some opinions on the Bulls.
Oh, go ahead. We can go into it too. That's fine.
Okay, yeah. That not in the original plan. We had a plan. We'll see how that goes.
Right.
But then like him and Levine and DeMar would alternate kind of like who's feeling it and who's not. And I feel like their problem was injuries and just interior defense and rebounding because Vooch just
he was so bad. He was so
I was so disappointed to see because my whole thing, I think everyone going into the season was like, who's going to be the number two option, DeMar or Vooch? And Vooch just kind of forgot how to shoot the ball.
Oh my God. He was so bad. He was so
bad.
I
watched him live. I'm like, against the Celtics, I was like, holy fuck, this man is slow. I'm not trying to sound completely disrespectful because he actually didn't play that bad in the game. There was just like, Robert Williams was injured, actually. What am I saying? But he was getting out rebounded by Al Horford, and I think that just summarizes their issues. Like he just struggled. But anyway, and Patrick Williams, I don't think is a long-term form. I'm going to be 100%. I understand he's a project. I don't know. I'm thinking who would fill that void as the five because you need a really good rim protect, like a good defensive five, a good paint defender, but also you need someone who can stretch the floor because DeMar is maybe one or two threes a game, and Patrick Williams, I'll be honest, he could, but I don't know if I like him consistently shooting three, and that's also what killed them against Milwaukee was that they could not hit a three for their lives.
Couldn't.
So
floor spacing was bad when Vucevic couldn't shoot the ball. He was just on the court being a low post player, which DeMar DeRozan needs the elbow and the free throw line to get his shots off ready to be consistent. Talking about Chicago because like that trade when Vucevic was traded, everybody was like, okay, that's a win now move.
It not only I think that actually ended well now that Vooch is played how he did. I didn't at the time, especially I'm like, oh, actually that's a good trade because that pick ended up being probably Wagner, which now looks really good. Looks really good now.
Yeah.
So
I feel like and then Wendell Carter is performing in Orlando. I haven't watched a lot of Orlando games, but he's looking good. Still good defensively. He's just undersized. That's the only problem.
He's been playing at the four with he was playing at the four with Mo Bamba, who I don't think they're going to pick up. But now also this is one thing. I live in Chicago. All my friends are Bulls fans. So I was like, the one thing I had, like, that trade is looking bad. They're like, well, is Wendell Carter just playing really well because he's in Orlando? Because that's a little bit of what happened with Vooch. Like, as good as he is. But the thing is also, he looked in Chicago. I don't know. I can go back and forth. I'm, like, debating this right this second in my head. But, yeah.
And I'm glad that you bring that up because does he look good because he got traded? New environment, new system, stuff like that.
I think that's also why he was never going to be able to play like this in Chicago.
He wouldn't. I agree with that because of spacing when now moves, and
he's also getting more touches.
Yeah, more touches, more minutes. That's going to make your stats look better. So naturally, you're going to look better. But
yeah.
So we brought up the Bulls thing because of Donovan Mitchell and being the 1-2. and he said he likes Donovan Mitchell as a good number two, like an elite number two. I see him as a three just because the reason of I know
Wow.
just because of the reason of Donovan Mitchell is ball dominant. He needs the ball in his hands. I would like my two I usually like my twos who are not ball dominant, but they can do a lot, like a Klay Thompson, like a Mikal Bridges, if he is a two, like somebody who usage rate is not through the roof, but is productive when he gets the ball.
Okay. The only reason why I say I do the Zach Levine comparison. So when his biggest criticism, other than his size, which you can't control, is that a lot of times he ends up being a shot chucker. But I believe that he ends up being a shot chucker because he's the only real offensive option on his team. Mike Conley he's 35. Let's be real, and he's not what he was. And then who's the other offensive option they have?
Bojan Bogdanovic, who's a catch and shoot guy, can't create his own shot.
So that's why I'm like, I think that's why a lot of times he looked like a shot chucker. So if he has that other option, like Levine or DeRozan has, whoever you want to say is the number two option, I think that a lot of the shot chucking issues will be fixed.
Okay. All right. So let's say if he goes to New York, because that's the team who has the most contacts with, he'll be the number one.
He'll absolutely be the number one option.
Is it worth it though?
I just don't like how undersized their guards would be anyway. I just don't like it'd be cool because I really like watching Jalen Brunson. I really like watching Donovan Mitchell. I think they're fun guys to watch. But I just don't see them. I see them as like a 60 max.
So
with that absolute max. And that's just off the top of my head. I think I'm being very generous with 60. I think their first, second round exit, maybe.
Okay. That's a fair. Talking about playoffs and exits and all that, first round exits, stuff like that. Moving on to James Harden and them.
Okay.
James Harden. We know the criticism surrounding James Harden about his contract, will he opt in, will he opt out? So if I'm not wrong, he opted out of his contract to sign a new contract, which is more team friendly. And that was the purpose to get PJ Tucker, DeAnthony Melton, and Daniel House, if I'm not wrong. The numbers for the contract was what, 2 years, 68?
68 or 68 mil. Yeah.
68. So
which
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna point out, I believe that's what James Harden's value is anyway. He's not a top 10 player in the league anymore. I think he can bounce back. He seems much more motivated. I think the contract says it all. But I think that is still his value.
Still his value. So I agree. What I like to see about James Harden and this, because I was criticizing him about does he really want to win, stuff like that. Because he's forced himself.
That's convinced all of us. Oh yeah, he really wants to win.
Yeah, because he forced himself out of like good situations. Maybe not like on the out, like us looking in, it probably wasn't good, but like on paper, you forced yourself out of a good situation.
Yeah.
KD and Kyrie, you forced yourself out of there. You had multiple chances. Sorry, not Danny, but Daryl Morey made your team in Houston, and you couldn't get it there. Granted, you did face the Warriors, but you're forcing yourself out of situations. Now you have to like show that you want to win and you can win.
Yeah. Well, also, I think him forcing himself out of Houston, there was the Russell Westbrook trade, which did just show like they're gonna enter a rebuild. So yeah.
So with the pickups of DeAnthony Melton, PJ Tucker, and Daniel House, he went to Daryl Morey again and said, "Do whatever you got to do to make this team a championship team."
Excuse my watch. Sorry. Yeah.
Do you think that team is a championship team?
I believe so. Actually, I think I really like the pickup of DeAnthony Melton. I do overrate him a bit just because he's like one of the role players that I stand. I also thought that Was they only like they gave up like a 20th overall pick or some shit like
They
that?
gave up the 20th pick.
That's
Nothing.
the
Nothing.
least. Because
Nothing.
D'Anthony Melton is exactly what they need. Good 3-point shooter. Not the most consistent, but he's good, and he's a good perimeter defender. So he's just a really good, I'm going to say, 6-man.
6-man. I say he starts next season. I say he starts.
Over Tyrese Maxey.
Listen, and this sounds crazy. Not over Tyrese, though.
Maybe not.
Over Matisse Thybulle. Why?
Oh!
Because, and I say Matisse because he's an upgraded version of Matisse. Matisse is great on the defensive end. Like, he's good. He's a good player on the defensive end. Offensively, oh, he's worse than Killian
Borderline
Hayes.
zero. Borderline zero. He's a complete liability in the playoffs.
Complete.
Because you will let him shoot. You will let him. You are not going to win a playoff series by Matisse Thybulle shooting threes, ever.
And at least D'Anthony Melton can shoot threes, or
He
can be
shoot
like
the three.
he can shoot the three okay to very good. So I feel like he's gonna take like minutes from Matisse, unless Matisse in this offseason becomes a good 3-point shooter or average 3-point shooter, because you can't play him more than 20 minutes. After that point, he's like, what can you really do? Like, what can you really do?
I'm just gonna say I like the 3 guards, but D'Anthony Melton 6'3", Tyrese is 6'2", Harden
6'5".
he's 6'5", and he's big. I actually don't hate that at all.
Running a lineup like that, yeah.
The only reason why, well, not the only reason, the only, I guess, really the pushback I have on that is, do you then where's your bench score?
You saw PJ Tucker, but
But he's not a guy who
right. He's going to just space the floor. He's not going to be looking to score this tight. That's why I'm not a GM. That's why I'm not a GM.
Do you drop Maxey or something, or to the
Maxey just had a good season though, coming off a good season.
I don't like that, but I also think he is a better playmaker than D'Anthony Melton. But D'Anthony Melton's not a bad playmaker.
What would be your star lineup rolling out?
All right, off the top of my head, Harden, Maxey,
okay.
Danny Green just tore his ACL or Achilles.
Achilles, I think.
So I am gonna have to go Matisse Thybulle. I don't like Matisse Thybulle. I think he is a very, very, very good defender. I believe he is still overrated.
Okay. I agree with you because of the offensive end for me. But continue.
Yeah. And then Tobias Harris and Embiid. And then off the bench, you'll have to do still a relatively short lineup of, I don't even remember who exactly is on the bench. But it was
I'm gonna pull up the Sixers roster right now.
Yeah. Melton and PJ Tucker. You could now. I do think that Tobias Harris is too good. No, you can't do that. I was thinking for a second you do Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker's a 3 and 4, but I don't like that. I don't like that. That's zero perimeter defense. No, because you'd probably do Tobias Harris at the 3.
Oh, I don't like Tobias Harris at the 3 though, because laterally he's not.
I don't like it.
Ooh,
I don't like it.
Because I'll say if I'm Philly, I'm rolling out with the lineup of Tyrese Maxey, James Harden. I think Matisse has to start now.
He does have to start
because I need D'Anthony Melton coming off the bench to be somewhat of a ball handler.
Yeah.
Unless, okay, so it's Matisse at the 3, Tobias at the 4, and Embiid at the 5, and coming off the bench, I'm gonna run like a 9-man. I'm gonna go 9-man deep or maybe 8. So it'll be D'Anthony Melton, PJ Tucker, Shake Milton. I don't have a big though coming off the bench, but that's fine.
Yeah, you don't. Small. That is really a big problem with that. I think a backup center is the most replaceable guy in the league.
Yeah.
So
You can run PJ at small ball 5 if
I
you
don't
wanted to
like.
get really.
I just don't like that.
I kind of like it for spacing
You
purposes.
can get it right, but I don't like it for because in the regular season you don't want to play Embiid 40 minutes a game.
Right.
You don't.
Well, that's
And
why you got Paul
Paul,
Reed for the regular season, though. That's why you got
I
Paul Reed.
actually don't. Yeah, I actually like Paul Reed. I actually think he's all right. He has to play at the 5, even though he's slightly undersized, but he just cannot stretch the floor. So, yeah.
But when it's playoff time, he's not seeing minutes for real. For real. Okay.
No, but I don't hate it. They just need like one more guy, and I think they're good. Can I just talk about the Nets real quick? Actually, a couple things. Okay, real quick. What are the chances that you think KD gets traded before the regular season? Just give me a percentage.
10. I don't see him getting.
I'm with you. Trade market's too fucked after the Gobert trade.
I don't see that happening
before the trade window ends.
He said before the trade deadline.
Yeah,
40.
I'm gonna go 25 because I think he's gonna realize, oh shit, I'm in a good situation here. I really like what they've done. I think TJ Warren, yes, he hasn't played in a while, but 10 mid-level for TJ Warren, I think that's a bargain and a half.
Bargain and a half for TJ Warren at that. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
I like that a lot. Nick Claxton, I actually liked him. At the start of the season, I was like, he looks scared of any like good 5. And he looked, other than the obvious like free throw issues, but that's really a playoff issue. And I don't think because in the playoffs, it's literally Kyrie, KD do something because no one else can.
Right. Seth Curry can stretch the floor out, of course.
But literally, we just had to guard those 3.
Yeah.
And it was whenever it got to Nick Claxton, foul.
Yeah.
So
foul.
it was whatever. And even then, those were still close games. Like, it was a sweep, but it was still, every game was close for the most part.
Yeah. I got, okay. Talking about the Nets because of the Kevin Durant situation. Is Kevin Durant more likely to get moved than Kyrie? Because
I don't see either of them moving. Because I don't think any team's going to give up the haul that Brooklyn wants for 1 year of Kyrie, whose stock already isn't that high. That was the thing. Like, his stock actually isn't that high, which I find really weird because the pandemic and you don't have to. There's no vaccination mandate there anymore, so he can play.
I feel like the stock isn't high depending on what team it goes to. A lot of teams don't want to give up a lot for Kyrie.
Exactly.
They don't know if he's going to play or not.
Like, one of the trades has been reported constantly has been a way future first Russell Westbrook and THT, and that's fucking not enough. There's no way. If Brooklyn makes that trade, that I still love Russell Westbrook. I'm on that train. But I just hated. I was cringing so much of his play in LA. But he's just like one of my favorite players, just because I don't know. He doesn't make sense, and that's kind of why I like him.
I feel it. He gives 100%. That's all I can say about him. Because I take Chris Paul over Westbrook personally.
That's valid. I don't want to have this. We still got a fuck ton more to talk about. I think it's been like a half hour or so.
We really do. I'm glad that you bring that up. So one thing I forgot to mention, or I didn't mention at the beginning. I do want to bring in the topic of this NBA rule. I know it came out of you. I know I just bring it up out of thin air, but this NBA rule is going to change how the NBA is played, of course. I think it's if you foul on a fast break, a common foul, they get the free throw and the ball back. Do you think it's good for the game, as in fans watching it, or do you think it will just slow it down again?
I think it can absolutely slow it. It depends if it's like the reviews. You've got to take 10 minutes to fucking review it and shit. Then I won't like it. I'm someone who I don't, unpopular opinion, I don't completely despise the take foul. I actually like it's like a little thing, just strategy behind it. And a lot of times it would bite teams in the ass. So, especially if it was early on. So that's why I didn't completely hate it. Now, of course, I don't like it, but a lot of alternatives will slow it down more. If it can be a quick decision, like quick, okay, cool, free throw, possession, then I'm okay with it. But if they're going to take a fuck ton of time to review it and all that shit, I don't like it. And also, I'm not sure if it's just a foul, I don't like it. I might not like it because, of course, not of course, but what if you're not like, you're straight up not trying to foul?
Right.
But I feel
Right.
like also I'm thinking about that like for a split second longer, and I'm like, no, it's kind of hard to not intentionally foul. It's kind of hard to foul someone unintentionally in the fast break.
Exactly.
So
For me, it's kind of weird for me. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. Again, it's going to be good for the game. I feel like in the long term because it's going to have teams not fouling in the situations where I'm like, all right, now you're just trying to delay the game or something like that. For example, like fast break, they can get an open three. Like let's use the Warriors because they're a good fast break team. Draymond gets the rebound, throws it out to Wiggins, one more pass to Steph, and you'll see the three go in or something like that. It'll be great for the game because fans want to see continuous like basketball and not waiting.
yeah, absolutely.
But
I
like
do.
you said, about the pausing
Reviews.
and like, was this like I think it happened in Detroit once. It did happen in Detroit. But they fouled Cade. Like Cade fouled somebody. They made sure it was a foul. Then they changed it from a foul to I think a personal, and
Clear
then a
path.
personal.
Clear path or personal?
They changed it from a personal to a clear path, and a clear path. Like they literally legit wait like
Fuck
20
that.
minutes.
That's the thing. Fuck that. Fuck that. It shouldn't take.
It shouldn't take that long to call the right call. Like it's a regular season game. Like I get that you want to get it right, but come on, man. It's a regular season game. If it's the playoffs, if the foul happens in the playoffs, you got to review it. I don't want to be there for 30 minutes though. I really don't.
Please.
It is one
exactly.
possession.
And I think we're on the same page on that front, I think.
Right. And that's a great thing about NBA. They do try to make new things and they're trying to speed up the game. The coach's challenge was a good thing because if you didn't like the call, you can challenge it, but you can't challenge it unless it's like you can't challenge it under I think a minute or 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, so it doesn't ruin the game. But
yeah, the only thing also the challenge rule is just like you can. Marcus Smart actually said this on the JJ Redick's podcast where it was a complete dive, and he's like, new challenge rule, if they challenge it and it does get overturned, and they do know that I flopped, they still don't have to challenge. I'm like, fuck. Wow. Yeah. So I do. He straight up said that. So that's why I'm like, I think if you get it right, of course, like maximum of 2 to 3 challenges, we can decide on that. But if you get it right, you should be able to have your challenge.
Yeah. I feel like if I'm not wrong, you don't get like you lose your timeout even if you get it right. Like
no, you get your timeout back.
You get your timeout back. Oh, okay, so you do risk a timeout, and if you okay, that's why I just made sure. All right, but this new rule, the take foul, is going to be adjustment periods for teams not to like intentionally foul on the fast break, but it's going to be fun. Like we're going to see more dunks, more highlights on the fast breaks, but you're going to also see teams be like, all right, we're going to play. If it's like a center like trying to beat somebody down the floor, we're going to take the foul and have him shoot the free throws. Or if it's somebody who's a poor free throw shooter, we're going to have him take the foul.
It's one free throw plus possession.
Right.
Now, of course, if it is a center, you will still take. But I think, once again, that's not a bad thing because still, we'll say if he's shit at free throws, like 60% he scores it, plus possession, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. Yeah.
As long as it doesn't take not I don't hate it. I actually like it. As long as they don't spend a million years reviewing shit. I think we're all at a consensus there.
Yeah. The review can get it right the first. Let me not, because I'm not an NBA ref, and that is pretty hard. That's a hard job.
It's a hard ass job, yeah.
But try to get it right in the first 5 minutes of the call. Don't have a whole halftime break looking at the call.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, bro, a lot of times when we're playing on the West Coast, I'm like, bro, I need to fucking sleep, please.
Oh my god. I think it was a Boston game. I'm going back far. I think it was Boston versus Milwaukee. It was I think it's the last fourth quarter, last 5 minutes left. It took a legit hour to finish that game. I think either it was this season or last season, but it took a legit hour to finish a 5-minute game.
Yeah. I know that this happened in the playoffs one time. It was 20 minutes for just a couple seconds with all the fouling and shit. I'm like, bro.
That's the game I'm talking about. I'm tripping. That's the game I'm talking about. Yes,
that wasn't right. That. The one I'm also talking about where Tatum hit the bank shot 3-winner over Giannis opening game. Bro, I lost my fucking mind. I'm just going to throw that out there. 1. And 2, there was also the plays after where they were reviewing. Bullshit foul, by the way. Giannis was not. No, that was not a foul. 1, but 2, they spent 5 minutes reviewing it, which I understand, game on the line, but it was one of those where I'm just fuck, dude.
Is it really worth all this for a regular season game? If it's a playoff game, sure, but regular season, come on. But I feel like it's gonna be a good transition player. We're gonna be fine with the call.
Yeah.
Moving on from the call and the refs, because again, their job is hard, and I have no room to talk about their job. I do want to one more thing before we get to the would you rather.
Yeah, of course. I just opened my thing just for the list of the things.
One more thing. I think you brought up Westbrook not too long ago. And this is just getting thrown out of thin air. I was on Twitter. I stay on Twitter, and it was a conversation about Russell Westbrook, all-time Westbrook versus all-time Chris Paul. Who would you rather have?
All-time Westbrook. I think you gotta take peak Westbrook, but longevity. I wonder who the fuck wins longevity. Westbrook averaged in his MVP season 30, 10, and 10, or 32, 10, and 10.
Something like that, something crazy like that. Yeah.
It was. That's just one of those. It's just bro, what the
with no defense, because I'm taking Chris Paul. Prime Chris Paul was a two-way player. Prime Westbrook, he was a good
defender, but he was not as good as Chris Paul is. But 30, 10, and 10, I don't think. I think you gotta take that.
You think you got so you're taking Westbrook. I'm taking Chris Paul. I'm Chris Paul. I'm kind of biased because I'm a heavy Chris Paul fan.
Dude, but, I'm a heavy Westbrook fan. It's okay. We're both biased.
All right.
Also, let me just say it's quite something to admit that in 2022 that you love Russell Westbrook.
You're a stan. You're a stan on Westbrook.
I love Russell Westbrook. I'm admitting that in 2022. That's fucked.
Yeah. And since we did just do the would you rather, I know you got the list because I currently don't have the list on me. I know you made the list and got the list. So it's gonna be this simple. There's 2 players who's probably on the same playing field level.
Yeah, and I did the same, and I matched the position, and also some of them are 3 players.
Okay, so and then you take your pick. Obviously, just what we just did: Westbrook, Chris Paul.
Also, we're not gonna do injury. We're not gonna say injuries. I've got AD in here.
Okay,
we're not gonna be I'm not gonna take him because he's injured.
Okay,
I just want to do who's better.
All right, and you
think is better right now.
and you defend your position of why you think it's better. Doesn't have to be right, doesn't have to be wrong, but you got to defend it.
Well, you can be wrong with some of these. No, I tried to make these close. We'll see.
Go ahead. You got the list on you.
Yeah. The first three, it's 2 or 3. Embiid, Jokic, Giannis.
Embiid, Jokic, Giannis. I think there's like a consensus. I think Giannis. I'm picking Giannis.
Giannis, who's second, who's third?
Oh, Giannis. Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid.
Philly fans, plug your ears. I'm on the same page. But here also, you can't go wrong with any of the three. You really can't. They're so fucking good. They really are.
Why is Giannis number one? Because he's the best player, right?
I just think he's the best player in the league.
Okay.
He's just so good. He is just so good.
He's amazing. And what people like about Giannis is he's great at what he does and he's humble about it. But talking about Giannis's game, he does everything you need from a wing/center position. Rebounds very well, defends, a good help defender.
The only thing he can't do is shoot the 3 ball. Like he's developed a little bit of a pull-up mid-range game, which is
good. Like that makes him even harder to guard.
What the fuck? So many guys also after winning a chip, especially how he did, would just kind of slack off a little bit.
Right.
No, he got better. He straight up was better.
Like you said, pull up mid range. He developed mid range shots. He developed. He's currently like taking 3-point shots. Like I think it was a stat they were in practice, and a video showed up in the clip. I think for a certain amount of time, he was like a better 3-point shooter than Chris Middleton. I think Chris Middleton was at like 31%. Giannis is at 32%. Even though it's nothing crazy.
Take it with a grain of salt. We're not saying Giannis is a better 3-point shooter than Chris Middleton because that's just straight up incorrect.
But you're seeing strides of him trying to get better and want to get better. Like I won a championship last season, so I'm gonna be the same player from last season. No, I'm gonna come in here, get better, and try to win again. Like I just like his mindset. But with the centers, Jokic and Embiid. Go ahead. Why you put Embiid third? Because I want you to go first. Go ahead.
I don't think I really love Joel Embiid. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I don't know why I have him versus Jokic. It's literally a coin flip. I think Jokic, it's not because I have Embiid third, it's because I have Jokic second, and it's purely because I think he has a healthy team. That's that. Like, he's made a lot of strides defensively. He's become a good defender now, and that's just a scary thought. Embiid, I love Joel Embiid. He's hilarious, and he's just a fucking beast. So, you can't go wrong with either of those two. I don't think you can.
I'll tell you why, and I shouldn't go challenge.
How about it?
I picked Jokic over Embiid because of the playmaking and the decision making.
That's valid.
And that's the only reason why I feel like you can. Obviously, Embiid is the better defender, but like you said, Jokic improved as a defender and is like, you're not going to beat him in drop coverage like Chris Paul did this year, like 2 years ago. You're not going to do that anymore. But Jokic became a better defender. He's shown that with lesser talent, he can go far. He can go far or can get his team to the playoffs. I'm not saying Embiid can't do that, but I've seen almost 2 years without Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and they were playoff. Like he was playing with scrubs.
I just think last season what he did with such his lineup, the rest
Monte
of the team
Morris was really probably his second best player, or Will Barton, like probably the second best player.
How is he able to do what he does? It's incredible. So that's that. I don't want to spend like a crazy amount of time on these because we don't want to go too long. Durant versus Braun, go.
Oh, who am I to say? Oh,
let me go. I'm going Braun. fuck playmaking. Just letting him playmaking. To get a bucket, I would take Durant because I think I think you choose anyone in the league to get a bucket, you want Kevin Durant. But he's 37 or 38.
Who? LeBron?
Bron.
LeBron 38, I think 38.
And he was
averaging 30.
2 games played of being, I think, second in scoring.
Yeah.
Or winning the score. How the fuck? I know he was like by far the best scorer in the league, but on his team, not in the league. But it's mind blowing. It is mind blowing to me.
I think I would go.
But I can't.
I'm gonna go Kevin Durant. Actually, I'm gonna go Kevin Durant.
And also I feel like a lot of mine is recency bias, really just off of how Durant played against the Celtics.
Right.
Because that did just show like all the flaws in his game, which aren't many.
Right. It's not many. He's just not a playmaker. Like he's just not that.
He's a really good shot creator, but LeBron didn't really have help, and he didn't get as many turnovers. Durant, Kyrie was invisible for a lot of the series, didn't have much help, and he turned the ball over. Now, I'm not trying to say like, oh, Durant can't win a championship as a number 1 player at all. I'm not trying to say that for either of these two, because we've seen Bron do it a fuck ton of times, of course. And Durant, I feel like he is one of the most. He has, for as great of a player as he is, he still has so much left to prove.
Hey, Alex, I want you back on here, but you might not be back on here because of what I'm about to say, and it might be outrageous, but Kevin Durant is probably the second best option of all time. I don't see him as a number 1 option, like at all. Like, and it's wild for me to say that because it's Kevin Durant. When you think about Kevin Durant, you think about a person who can get you a bucket, but his limitations for playmaking. And it's crazy because I chose Kevin Durant. His limitations for playmaking.
That's a take, but I don't hate it that much.
He's the best second option you can ever have.
Okay, so I feel like it more says about like what you say is a first option versus how good KD is. You look a lot at playmaking for a first option.
Right.
That's it. I think you can have different types of first options. Now,
for me, it's like, okay, and let me say why I chose Kevin Durant. I chose Kevin Durant because again, he's a bucket getter. Of course he didn't have the team around him, or the team had way too many problems off the court and on the court.
And on the court, let's be real.
I feel like if he had somebody who can relieve the help, and you could say he had Kyrie, but Kyrie was not Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie was fucking invisible.
Right.
I'm one of the few guys in Boston fans who I still like Kyrie. Not off the court, but on the court, I would never boo him ever. I'm gonna be honest, just because he's fun to watch. But he was invisible. Other than game 1, he did fuck all.
Right.
Shouldn't be a second option on a team that has borderline no help taking 9 and 11 shots, which I believe was his shot totals in games 2 and 3. You can't do that.
You got to act like a number 1 option, even though you got Kevin Durant. You still got to take number 1 option type.
He wasn't playing well, so you got to take the fucking
right.
Game
you got
to
take the
dropped like 30 something, which was fun, but
how it felt like. Anyways, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Next player.
We're on a time constraint, kind of.
Next player. Right. We're gonna do it 2 more.
I got 2 more.
Yep, 2 more. Make them good 2 more. Make them good 2 more.
Okay. I know which one I'm gonna end on too. Steph versus Luka.
Luka, give me Luka. No question. Easy. Luka.
Okay. I wrote these 3 days ago, 3 days ago. I still don't know. I still don't fucking know. I'm gonna be blunt. I don't have a coin.
I'm gonna tell you why I picked Luka real quick.
Cool.
Don't let this decide your decision, but Luka, he's so good. Like playmaking, he has it. The ball handle, the shot creation. The reason why you probably wouldn't take Luka, and it's like a slim reason, is because he's a liability on defense. But when he needed to step up, he was okay. But Luka does so much for an offense. Like I'm gonna go to Westbrook real quick because I'm gonna use this as the thing. What Westbrook did with the Oklahoma City Thunder when he was like his MVP year, carried that team to the playoffs, is what Luka did, but better. Like Luka did it better.
More efficiently.
More efficiently and just better. He didn't average the triple double that Westbrook didn't, like Westbrook had, but
he was damn close and much more efficient.
He was closer, and then when at playoff time, nobody could stop him. Nobody. Wiggins stopped him. Wiggins didn't even stop him. He contained him. Like he contained him, which is okay.
Speaking of, real quick, let me just say, holy shit, Andrew Wiggins shocked us all. Oh, yeah. Like, holy fuck, he got good.
Yeah, Wiggins got good over there. It's because the team he got drafted by. That's why. It was because the team got drafted by.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole different situation.
Yeah. All right. So, you know what? This is the most me way to decide this. I have a Monster Energy tab.
All right.
Heads is Luka, tails is Steph. Tails, Steph.
So you take Steph.
All right, fuck it.
Steph.
He's not as good on the offensive end, but he's the greatest shooter of all fucking time. Look at what he did in the playoffs. Yes, he had a better team around him than Luka did, but holy fuck. And then also, he's less of a liability on defense than Luka. Because a big thing that big mistake that a lot of teams made against Golden State was that they would go for a mismatch hunt they'd hunt the Steph matchup. And then by that time, there's 7 seconds left on the shot clock. And he's not that bad of a defender.
You know who did that? You know who did that? Exactly what you're talking about? Boston. Jason Tatum tried to go for
No, this was a problem before the finals too. Yeah, don't worry. And then that's really what fucked us. I'm like, that was
talk about Steph. He was contained. Like Steph was on Tatum. Tatum is 6'9". Steph is 6'3". He wants to take a contested mid-range jump shot. Oh,
I'm never going on a pod again. Actually, no, y'all are fucking tanking. Go fuck yourselves.
Yes. And then listen. When Draymond switched on to him, now he want to take it to the rack. Go ahead, Tatum.
Like, bro, come on. It is infuriating. It's like the whole shit where Giannis will be against this was really last playoffs. Giannis will be against because last playoffs I rooted for Milwaukee. He would find like a mismatch against some guard or someone who's significantly smaller, and he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna take a Dirk fade. I'm like, bro. It's also like when you, especially last season, you give it to Giannis at the top of the key. Entire Final Four's like, don't shoot! Still fucking shoots it. It's like that shit.
But you picked Steph. Steph's not a bad pick, of course. Also great.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong with either or. The reason why I picked Luka is because he generates so much offense. Even though Steph does, and Steph is the better defender, Luka's like, what makes Luka like a top 5 player in the NBA is just because offense. Like the way he can make shots easier for some people, the way that attention to detail it is to Luka when you're facing him. I think Draymond said it the best.
I'm intrigued because he looks. This one around Twitter, but like the picture of him, he looks skinny.
Yeah, he looks.
Like not skinny as in skinny, but like
right.
He probably weighs relatively similar, but it's muscle.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good.
He looks like he's ready to play and like ready to go. I think Draymond said it the best on the podcast with again JJ Redick podcast. Great podcast to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely.
No
sponsorship here. They wouldn't sponsor your ass. Ever.
I think Draymond said the Mavericks are more of a threat than the Grizzlies just because of the factor of what Luka can do. Luka can make his teammates so much better than they really are. And then when he does that, it gets him going. Like at certain points, you'd rather have Luka score all the points than have him defend. And I say that is because if Luka is getting the assists, if Luka is passing the ball and stuff like that, he's getting everybody else involved, getting everybody else a rhythm, versus him just scoring himself. So when you get a mixture of that, it's like pick your poison. I got assists and my players are hot now. So are you going to leave them open, or I can go get a bucket and you really want me to go get a bucket on you? That's the reason why I pick Luka over Steph.
That's great point. Once again, you can't go wrong with either. It's the case with pretty much all of these. Yeah. Last one, which is gonna go. I chose this one specifically because of what we said earlier. Zach Levine versus Donovan Mitchell.
Oh. Give me Zach, no question. Zach, no question. Actually,
no question.
No question.
That's confidence. I'm on the same boat. Not no question.
I think it's no question because Zach is just better. Like Zach is just better. 3-point shooter, better. Field goal percent, like scoring efficiency is just better. Playmaking, they're basically on the same level. Even I can say Zach is better. They're both athletic, guards. One is 6'4", 6'5". Like I don't think it's close actually. When you really come
down to it. Okay.
The only thing you can say about Donovan is he turns into a low-level superstar when it's time to play, big moments, stuff like that.
When it's time to play. Now, this is much closer than I thought it was because of what I said earlier.
Okay.
Because that was all of this shit. I'm just like figuring out while I talk for the most part. I feel like a lot of why Donovan Mitchell looks like a shot chucker is because he doesn't have a secondary offensive option.
Yeah.
There's not another offensive option.
Do you think he could be so I'm going to throw this question out because you're kind of defending Donovan.
I'm saying you're saying it's not close, but you say Zach, no question.
Zach, no question, right? Do you think Donovan can be as efficient as Zach Levine if he gets a DeMar DeRozan type player?
Yes. I think he can be.
That's devious talk.
He's less.
I think, if I'm not wrong, Zach Levine shot like 40% from three. Like crazy.
I think 39 or 40.
Right.
And he shot 48 or 9% total from the field.
Right. And that was one on 6 or more attempts, if I'm not wrong, for Zach. Something crazy like that. That's very efficient. But his usage range.
Yeah. From 3, he will not be as efficient. Mm-hmm. I just don't think. Zach is just a really fucking good 3-point shooter. The only reason I do say is really just a mid-range game, which of course Donovan Mitchell's isn't. It's better than Zach's. So I think he can be as efficient, not from 3, but from inside, so mid-range.
You think Mitchell's better?
I still take Zach Levine. I take Zach Levine.
Right. Wait, Mitchell is better on pull-ups and mid-range than Zach Levine.
Yeah.
He is. You're right about that. He is.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Oh. Yeah, I don't think it's close still because you really break it down, they both are elite scorers or good to elite scorers.
Mm-hmm.
Just Zach does it more efficient. And they're both a negative, probably at best break even on defense. So where do you
think Zach is even. I think Donovan Mitchell is even too.
Okay.
I don't know. Yes, more efficient, but we'll see what happens with Donovan Mitchell. But I do think a lot of it is down to him not having a secondary option.
Not a legit secondary option. And I'm gonna leave on this one. Is Zach Levine will Zach Levine be a better playmaker than sorry, I said that wrong. With Donovan Mitchell, when he gets a secondary option, like the Jalen Brunson, we expecting him to go if he goes to New York. Was his playmaking evolve or get better, or will it stay the same? Because now I don't see him being.
I think it will stay the same. I think it'll stay the same.
Is Zach a better playmaker than Donovan? I'll say yeah. He's a better connector. Let me rephrase that. He's a better connector.
Yeah.
He's a better connector.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a better connector than Donovan. Okay.
Mm-hmm. We saw without it was. I thought there were going to be some growing pains when DeMar joined. Nah, they was pretty immediate. Looked good.
I think if I'm not wrong, like those two, like closing, like those are the best two players, like closing the game on the court together. Like if I'm not wrong, they averaged like 60 points together. And like when it was like clutch time, they were one of the best closers. Obviously, you want to say you would take them over Giannis and like Chris Middleton or something like that. But like stats and statistics show like on the court, like when it's a bucket,
when it's time,
they will get a bucket pretty efficiently, pretty quickly.
And I'm excited about the Bulls. I am excited to see the Bulls healthy again. I'm also once again really excited about the Pistons. So there's a couple of games that I want to go to this year. Once again,
okay.
Pistons Bulls, Celtics Bulls, which I always want to go to, but another one is Pistons Bulls.
We was doggy.
Y'all look exciting as fuck.
Oh yeah, we do.
Ivy. That looks like fun.
Kate Cunningham, Jalen Durant. Yeah, we saw. We're gonna beat the Celtics. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you that now. Like I'll tell you that now. Cade is gonna beat the Celtics.
Hey, they'll beat us last. But Malcolm Brogdon, I also love that signing. That's for. I could go on. We don't have time for that, but
Malcolm Brogdon is a good. Y'all look fleeced. Y'all fleeced the fuck.
Oh, we fleeced the living fuck out of them.
Like please. For Malcolm Brogdon. The only thing is Malcolm Brogdon can he stay healthy? And if he does, then that's a fleece. That's a fleece. I feel like.
And the thing is, it's not like we gave away any real bench pieces, so it's not even like we're gonna have to play him that much during.
They'll give up Aaron Nesmith, right? And Daniel Tice.
And Malik Fitz.
He's not going to see a playoff. He's not going to see a playoff minute, so it doesn't matter.
He's not going to see a minute. He's not going to see a minute. I'm sorry,
man. But it was fun having you on. I know we've heard all the conversations, but it was fun. I have fun. This is actually a very I'm smiling because this. I had fun.
Yeah, dude.
I had fun, and I can't wait to do this again. You still got that list for next time I have you on. Most likely next week if you're trying to do it next week.
Hell yeah, sounds great.
But that's the end of this episode. Thank you for coming up. Again, this is Alex. I'm saying it like he's right next to me. Alex, plug your socials again if you want. And
that one fan _13.
Alex, that one, and that's on Twitter. And that's on Twitter. And the other socials, you go have to ask him on his Twitter. But thank you again for watching, y'all. Thank you, Alex, for coming out. That's the end of it. Thank you.
Peace.